Hello and namaskar viewers, I am Sanjeev Pandya welcoming you to this week's edition of the Tax Talk with AJ right here on ITV Gold. Yes, you can imagine and you can definitely see a smile on my face and a little bit happy mood because the tax season is over. But Tax Talk continues. The show is brought to you by Science CPA Services, a professional accounting firm located in the state of New Jersey, multiple locations, but they can assist you on any tax matter, corporate or personal tax matter anywhere in the US. They're trained and knowledgeable on-hand CPAs will guide you in the right direction. Maybe, you're one of those who file the extension. And when you file the extension, obviously you know that you have to file a tax return within the 6 months. So you're going to need a help. Keep this number handy, 908-888-8901. That's a 908-888-8901. Visit their website, scicpservices.com, and ask for any help that you need when it comes to taxes. With that note, I'd like to welcome Mr. AJ Kumar, CPA and MBA with Science CPA Services. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you for the kind introduction.
Yes, you're very welcome. And you also look relaxed after April 15th. And now the tax season is over, the burden is over, but the work continues. It's a myth that people think the CPAs are free from April 16th. Such is not the case because many people have filed extension and many other things to do also till September, October. I would say maybe after October, they have a little bit of relaxed schedule. Right, AJ?
Well, the next tax deadline is September 15th for the businesses. For S Corp, LLC, for all the flow-through entity, the deadline was March 15th. And if you file an extension, your next deadline is September 15th. For the personal taxes, if you file the extension, the deadline is October 15th now. So a lot of this work starts around July, August. We start working on the business taxes, the personal taxes. So it's not as busy as it was earlier. But so next 3 months, summer is generally good. Okay. We do a lot of bookkeeping, payroll, sales tax. So the work is still there, but the same pressure is not there. The deadline pressure is not there.
Exactly. Now everyone must be waiting for their refunds to come in, or whoever had to pay, you had to pay. So now let's talk about after tax deadline, meaning April 15th. Everyone knows that's the date because that's when the personal taxes are due. And once your return is sent out to Uncle Sam, what exactly need to be careful after April 15th to December 31st? Let's find out from AJ a little bit more in detail about personal taxes and the corporate taxes.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's look at the personal tax side first. So on the personal tax side, let's say if you owed money, and if the money was supposed to get out of your account on April 15th, make sure you keep checking your bank account. The onus, the responsibility remains to the taxpayer. If the money, for any reason, because the bank account was not right, bank account blocked the transaction, for any reason, if the IRS did not get their money by April 15th, they will try to charge interest and penalty. So if you owed money, please keep an eye on your bank account to make sure the money is paid. If the money is not paid, call IRS. Their number is 1-800-829-1040, 1-800-829-1040 to make sure they have the right information, they collect the money. If you are expecting a refund, make sure the refund comes. After 3 weeks of filing the taxes, you can go to IRS website, irs.gov, and look for where is my refund. If you did not file the taxes, if you ended up filing an extension for your personal taxes, please make sure that you make estimated tax payment. So the extension is for tax filing, not for making the tax payment. If you owe money, you're expected to make that payment before April 15th. If for any reason you did not make the payment, try to make as much as you can, and then you can request the payment plan as the time comes. Remember, the Q1 estimated tax payment deadline was also April 15th. So not only 2024 tax payment was due by April 15th, first quarter of 2025 estimated tax payment was also due by first quarter April 15th. So looking at the business side, if you owe money, if it's a C corporation, same thing, you are supposed to pay it by April 15th. S Corp, LLC typically do not have any taxes. But if you have profits in there, You may have a tax liability as a flow-through entity on your personal tax side. If you file the extension, make sure for a C corporation especially that you are making the proper tax payment, estimated tax payment along with the tax filing. The funny thing is, Sanjeevji, New Jersey especially will deny your extension if you don't make the proper estimated tax payment. After 3 months you try filing the taxes, they will say you did not file the extension. So I did file the extension. No, sir, we denied it because you did not make the tax payment. Now they will try to charge you interest and penalties as if you did not file the extension.
Oh, wow. That can be very, very steep. AJ, from your office, they normally send out emails, to let everybody know, your clients and everybody in the community that certain things to remember, certain things to follow when it comes to taxes. And one of the emails which was recently sent out by your office, I just looked into it. There's a short-term payment option and there's a long-term payment option. One is up to 100,000 and the other one is more than 100,000. Can you shed some light on it?
Absolutely. So IRS has various payment plans. You can request a payment plan by filing the Form 9465. Depending on how much you owe, depending on how much you can afford to pay every month, IRS payment plans can be extended to 6 years. If you owe less than $50,000, IRS payment plans are typically automatic. You just go to their website, complete the information. If you owe more than $50,000, it makes sense for you to call IRS, explain your situation. And the way, if you take a step back, the way they look at it, if you owe more than $50,000, you must be making a couple of $100,000. You must be making a lot of money. If you are making a lot of money, then why are you not paying us anything? So the rule is if you owe less than $50,000, up to $50,000, the installment plan, the payment plan is automatic, that you can use any software, fill up the form, mail it out, go to the IRS website and request it. You can create your own login on irs.gov using id.me, and then you can set up the payment plan, look at the transcript, look at the liability that you have over there. So it's very, very nifty over there.
Okay, so that is the payment plan, and a short-term, long-term payment plan. There is also short-term, collection delay options also that you can have. The collection notice is, delayed for a short term. That's also an option that IRS is offering.
There are a lot of such options. You can have the collection delayed. You can have non-collectible account. You can have offer in compromise. So what we are mentioning in that type of email, let's say if you owe large amount. And how do you define large amount? Large amount is something that you cannot afford to pay right away. So if you owe large amount that you are not able to pay right away, you can have IRS put a temporary hold onto all collection effort. So there is a collection due process that can be put on hold if you can justify to IRS that you don't have enough income or your income is barely sufficient to support you, you cannot afford to pay anything to IRS. And there are certain forms you have to fill up as how much income you have, what are your expenses, how much is your car payment, insurance payment, mortgage payment. You justify that this is what I'm collecting, this is what I'm paying. Based on this, I cannot pay anything to IRS, or I lost my job, I don't have any job, I'm not collecting any money, so I cannot pay IRS. So in that case, IRS can put a temporary hold on the collection process, meaning they will not try to send you the letter, they will not try to have somebody call you or try to collect the money in general. You can also go for offer in compromise. I owe $100,000, say for example, and you say I can only afford to pay $20,000. I don't have any asset, I don't own any home, I don't have any bank account, locker. This is what I have, this is what I can afford to pay. Would you accept it? More than likely, IRS will counter offer the deal, will say not 10,000, but how about 20,000? How about 25,000? That's a sort of offer in compromise. Not only you can put a temporary collection hold, you can just say that I cannot pay. Or let's say if a taxpayer files the bankruptcy and they don't have any income to show, so IRS will put a freeze, will put the account as non-collectible account. That's rare. That's only done when the IRS does not foresee any collection from that account, meaning the IRS is not expecting, let's say if somebody is 65 years old, retired, not working, owes some money, doesn't have any asset, In that case, IRS can put that account as uncollectible account as well.
Okay, interesting. With that note, I think AJ, we should add a note for our viewers: IRS fraud and the scams, how they should be careful and what they should know about it.
Absolutely, I'm glad you brought it up. Lot of frauds are happening. Lot of people are calling, pretending to be IRS agent, and lot of times in GFG, even the caller ID will say IRS. And it's my favorite example. If you have, if you take a phone number under Indian Residential Society, your nickname could be IRS. So it looks legitimate. It's the agent who is calling or the person who is calling, they will have a stern voice, a scary voice. They will say, if you don't trust me, call this number and speak to IRS directly. So they're giving you a number, they're feeding you a number, call the IRS directly. As soon as you call that number, somebody else, their friend is picking up the phone, IRS calling, IRS is speaking. The whole scam is planned very well. The other scam happens through letter, through mailing. So they will send you this IRS similar looking letter. It has a stamp, which is not the same stamp as IRS, but very, very similar stamp. They will call it New Jersey Sheriff County Court Unit Number 3. They will make it look legitimate. They will come up with some words, they will use the word county, they will use jail, they will use some government looking.
Some strong legal words.
Exactly, to make it look legitimate, to make it look as if it's coming from a real place. But if you put that address on the Google, where this is coming from, you will not see any IRS office. If you go to irs.gov/locations, you will not see that address. The best thing you can do, call IRS directly or create your own account at IRS website, irs.gov. Number again, the IRS hotline for individual taxpayer is 1-800-829-1040. You call them directly. Don't call the number that these scammers are giving you. You call the IRS number. Find the IRS number on Google, on internet, and then you call that number, give your social security number, explain the situation to them. Do not give any prepaid card. Do not send any Amazon card on an email. Because right now you can get a lot of these cards, store cards on an email.
Exactly.
And they're looking for such an email, they're looking for such a card. So just avoid that thing.
Very good. Okay, that's something that you really, should pay attention to it, viewer. That is for your benefit and for your security. With that note, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue to talk on this after tax matters in this week's The Tax Talk with AJ. Stay with us. Welcome back to the second half of the Tax Talk with AJ right here on ITV Gold. And once again, the show is brought to you by Science CPA Services. CPA Services which actually, serves the taxes, corporate, personal taxes, as well as they offer services when it comes to bookkeeping, payroll, virtual CEO, virtual CFO, to help out small business owners, so that way business owners can focus on their business and leave all the accounting and tax matter to Science CPA Services. They're very, very knowledgeable and professional staff on hand, including CPAs, will take care of all the matters that you need to do. Before the break, we talked about IRS fraud and scam and everything else. One thing I like to add is IRS audit. If there is a genuine audit coming to you from IRS and you need help, you need someone, some knowledgeable CPA, experienced CPA to help you with the audit, do visit Science CPA Services. Give them a call, make an appointment, and talk to them, and most likely they will be able to help you out with IRS tax audit. Do not ignore that IRS tax audit letter, because that's very, very important. So that's a Science CPA Services sponsors the show, and we'd like to thank them. Their phone number is 908-888-8901, or visit their website sciencecpaservices.com. Moving on to the show, IRS. We all talk about IRS, Internal Revenue Service. Taxes due, taxes this, taxes that, all kinds of taxes and everything. But when it comes to IRS, Internal Revenue Service, and the nickname is Uncle Sam. There's a reason behind why is Uncle Sam for April 15, but we'll talk about that some other time. But now the question is, what do IRS do? How does this agency agency work? Who really, calls all the shots and everything? And the employees, IRS employees, they are looking at yours, mine, and everybody else's tax returns. What are their job and what are their duties, and how many employees do they really need to have? Let's have some insight on that matter. And to start with, I just want to say that when President Donald Trump took the office for his second term, there were about 100,000 employees. Out of 100,000 employees, he let go about 7,000 employees because they were not needed. They were not, appropriately featured in the agency for the role. And about 2,000 employees or something, they were also let go. But now the news has come out recently, 2 days ago, a couple of days ago, and it's all over on internet, and you can check out Reuters or AP websites, the reliable websites, the news websites, that 22,000 IRS employees are going to be accepting Donald Trump's offer with pay till September 30th. So 6 months pay with full benefits. They're gonna accept their offer and they're gonna move on. So let's find out from AJ more on this IRS employees and the agency.
Absolutely, Sanjeevji. So take a step back. If you remember, one of the promise that President Trump made was to create ERS, external revenue service, as opposed to internal revenue service. So what does IRS do? Their role is to make sure everybody is paying their fair share of taxes. I mean, you define fair, how it makes sense to you. In their mind, the intent was to have everybody pay a fair share of taxes to the system so the government can function properly. That's what the internal revenue service is supposed to do. Last year, at the end of the last year, they had about 88,000 employees. Every year during the tax season, they hire a lot of temp workers. And this is to make sure the overload is managed properly during this January 1st to April 15th. So President Trump's or his administration theory was these 10,000 people are not adding a lot of value. When you hire a temp staff, who is temp staff? Somebody who is junior, who is new, who doesn't have the prior knowledge. So these people are just adding a lot of nuisance, not adding a lot of value. So the initial firing, 6,500, 7,000 firing that was done, that was not the real IRS employees or the long-term IRS employees. We want to differentiate for our viewers, Sanjeevji. So those were the temp staff. And at least statistically speaking, it did not create a lot of backlog for IRS, meaning this season, and we just finished the season a couple of days ago. This season, IRS was able to pick up the phone at least at the same speed, if not faster, if not sooner, if you compare it with the prior seasons. So that firing of the temp staff did not really create a lot of hassles, a lot of problems. Now the news that we see at Reuters is that 22,000 IRS employees, and these are the long-term employees. They are not the temp staff we are talking about. They are experienced people. They are the people who are taking a lot of cases. At IRS, the way the business works, if somebody is leaving or somebody is fired, all their case files are assigned to the next person in the department. So IRS has different divisions, different departments. People who are doing personal tax audit, they are only doing personal tax audit. People who are doing Schedule C audit, they only do Schedule C audit. So when somebody leaves in one department, all their case files get redistributed to the same department. And sometimes it becomes so much overwhelming, the next person wants to resign only because now they cannot handle the work. So the 22,000 people that we are talking right now are the people who are quote unquote fed up with the policies, with the process, with the overload. So these are the people who are choosing, okay, I'm done here, I was planning to retire. The other thing that's not out yet, if you look at the retirement history for IRS employees, as much as 60% of the IRS employees are expected to retire in next 5 years, meaning they have a lot of older employees over there who are going to be retiring soon. So you consider yourself in a situation when you are almost at that age, the retirement age. Now you have a lot of case files put on your table assigned to you suddenly because somebody left or somebody was let go. What do? You say, I'm done with this nonsense. And these are the 22,000 people we are talking about.
All right. Thank you for clarifying that. So now, obviously a question comes to my mind that Population in US is growing. There are going to be more and more tax filers, right? Second thing is that as this country, America, in which country the immigrants and the Americans prosper by having so many opportunities to have their own business, small business, mid-sized business. So when somebody has their own business, the corporate tax returns are also going to be, the number is going to go higher. And if you're saying that with this 22,000 people accepting accepting President Trump's offer, don't you think somewhere along the line workload will be affected because there will be a lot of files to go through, to audit and to process, and IRS agency and their workers are used to having support staff. Now they're going to have a short support staff.
You're 100% right. So with this type of plan, when we say this VRS plan, voluntary retirement system type of plan, you typically end up losing good employees, people who are fed up, who have been there for a long time, who knows the system. It's not a performance-based firing. It's not some people who are letting go. People, the 22,000 people that we're talking about, they're not the ones who are not performing. They are the ones who got fed up, who said, I'm done here. I don't want any more nonsense. So the workload is going to get affected. But for any company, IRS consider it as a small business. Any company, you have to right size your company every now and then. You keep hiring people. Every time you hire 10 people, 4 of them are going to be very good, 4 of them are going to be average, 2 of them are going to be not so good. So unless you right size your ship every so often, and there will be some temporary setback. But in this case, the worry is not about how many people are being let go. The worry is not 6,000, 7,000, or for that matter, 22,000. The worrisome part is this is a VRS system. These are the people who are resigning themselves, who are saying, I don't want to be working there anymore. They are the senior people. They are not the performance-based review firing.
Okay. Now, coincidentally, I just want to bring this news in the end. President Joe Biden, a couple of years ago, and we talked about that in our show, that President Joe Biden announced that, the administration was going to be hiring 20,000 additional IRS agents to go after high-profile, high-net-worth individuals to audit their tax returns to see if they are paying, the taxes they are supposed to pay. So could it be that extra 20,000, and here we have 22,000, could it be that that's
No,
not necessarily.
I wouldn't relate two things. First, what President Obama wanted to, President Biden wanted to do was a different plan, was to collect more money or fair share of money from ultra wealthy people. The plan was we'll have $80 billion assigned to IRS over next 10 years. So we'll hire a lot of people. This 20,000 people were not supposed to be hired in 1 year or 1 day. It was a 10-year plan that will be focusing on how to audit, what to look for in a high net worth type of client's tax return. These 22,000 people who are leaving, it's a VRS system, it's a voluntary retirement system. And the way they have defined this system, if you have been in IRS for less than 10 years, for each year will give you 1 week's pay. If you have been with the IRS for more than 10 years, for each year will give you 2 weeks pay. So these are the people who are the cream, who have been there long term. They are the ones who are resigning now. Okay. They are not the ones who just joined a couple of years ago.
All right. So there's nothing to worry about it. Obviously maybe there was an overload a little bit, and now President Trump is trying to balance it out. Of course, there's IRS, and you mentioned VRS, and you also mentioned ERS that President Trump had introduced. You think President Trump should come up with no IRS?
I'm not sure. It's going to be difficult in the short run. Even though I don't belong to any political party, but as much as President Trump wants to get rid of IRS, the intent is not to get rid of the government department. The intent is to get rid of the tax system. Why should people be paying any taxes? Why can't we let people keep their money so they can invest into their business, they can invest into economy? If you can find enough money through a different source, and just humor me, let's call it ERS, External Revenue Service. Let's say call it tariff. Let's call it something else. If we have another source of money, do we really have to charge 37% income tax return on someone?
It sounds good, when you hear it, but let's say if it's really going to be implemented, that will be
It's
the
going to be
deal.
tough. It's
Yes.
at least, even if it's decided, even if they have a plan, it's going to take them years to
Yeah,
implement
yes,
something like
Congress
this.
needs to approve it. Well, anyway, with that note, we come to an end of this week's episode, the Tax Talk with AJ. And AJ, with your permission, if I can just let them know, next week's show is going to be
Absolutely.
on Trump's tariffs. As you all
ERS.
know, last couple of weeks, the tariffs issue has been really rising up. It has affected stock market, and it has put everybody into the mood of apprehension. They are very concerned. Will it go into inflation? Will it go into recession? Will inflation rise? So we're going to talk about that, and AJ will definitely add so much value and knowledge to Trump's tariff matter. So make sure you tune in, same place, same time, for the Tax Talk with AJ right here on ITV Gold. AJ, once again, thank you so very
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you.
I am Sanjeev Pandya, wishing you all now, once again, a very happy tax-free days and smiley days ahead. So long.
Thank you.